Hey everyone, Brandon here for another episode of SexxxPerTease, and today's question is, how many dates should you have before having sex with someone? Well, personally, I don't do anal on first encounters usually. I mean, there have been exceptions, but I've realized, anal sex is best saved for someone special that I've, known for a while and have built some level of trust and comfort with. But also, if you're, a girl, you probably wouldn't be having anal sex sometimes. I mean, some girls are into it, but anyway, I don't know if there's a set number of dates you'd have before sex. I mean, I've heard lots of places that 3 is the magic number. You should get with the guy 3 times before deciding to have sex with him, going all the way. But I'm a bit more free and open with oral sex because I feel like if I have a great date with someone and I build up chemistry and I'm into them, I want to hook up on the first date, even though I know lots of people are against that, but I mean, everyone's different. And I also don't have puritanical views on sexuality. I don't feel like if I hook up with a guy on the first date, that means, oh my god, he's not going to take me seriously. Or if I hooked up on the first date with a guy, that doesn't mean I'm going to lose all respect for him and think he's not boyfriend material. I'm hooking up with him because I like him and I'm into him, though it's never really led to getting a boyfriend for me. Putting out on the first date, but also not putting out on the first date hasn't led to a boyfriend either. But I would just think that it's important to, I guess, weed things out with a guy, because I think you should pretty much ask him how he feels about putting out on the first date before you decide to do it, even though I guess a guy can lie in the moment and say, there's nothing wrong with putting out on the first date, and then he'll still never call you back. But I mean, it's impossible to predict how a man will react anyway, so you can't really do or not do certain things, especially if a guy's that would never work for me if a guy has antiquated views on sexuality. He's no, you're not respectable if you put out on the first date. That's so stupid to me, and I'm not conservative whatsoever, so I feel like I would need a man that thinks the same way that I do. So it's good to find a guy that can, I guess, feel the same way that you do, which is hard to tell on the first date. But I guess to play it safe, I see nothing wrong with doing oral on a first date, but that's not for everyone. But I would definitely maybe go for a second date, because in my experience, guys usually want to define the relationship after the second date, which does seem really fast. But usually if I don't put out on the first date, I don't like a guy and don't really want to see him again, but that's just me. So I would recommend anywhere between, well, don't do full-on sex the first date. Oral's fine, if that's your comfort level. But I guess second or third date, if you're really, really into a guy. Actually, let's go 3. 3 is a good number for the date to go full on with a guy, because second dates are still iffy. I mean, it's also a miracle for me if I got to my second date. But anyway, I definitely would recommend that it's not really about the magic number, oh my god, I'll totally know that he's the one after this number date. It's really just when you feel comfortable with a guy and when you know him. I mean, first date, probably not, because you don't know if he has something and he's lying and he's just using you. But oral's fine, because that's safer. But wait until your comfort level's there. You shouldn't rush into sex if you aren't ready for it, but you should definitely know that you are really into this guy, and sex is important. It is an important part of a relationship. That's another reason why I don't understand people that don't, or that have something against putting out on the first date, because they feel like sex should not have that much influence or power over your decision to see someone again, because I'm not just in it for the sex. If I'm having sex with you, it means I like you, and I kind of already want to see you again if I'm hooking up with you. I mean, most of the time. I mean, sometimes you're just bored after a date or drunk, and you're just whatever, I'll put out. I don't care if I see him again. But every date's different. But definitely just know your comfort level and make sure this guy is someone you're into, and you aren't just doing it because of the alcohol or you're bored or lonely. Sex should be with someone special. I mean, it can be fun with others, but in my experience, full-on sex, anal or vaginal, is best saved to the point when you're comfortable, know a guy, trust him, and he's definitely someone you would like to see more of, even though a guy can always dump you after the first date or the 10th date, no matter when you decide to put it out. So sex should not have that much power or influence over when you want to see someone. And if someone does feel that way, they probably aren't someone you should be seeing anyway. I hope that helps be a question. Tune in again for another episode of SexxxPerTease.